Very good morning, children. This is your biology class. So, we are going to start with the first chapter, life process. Now, as the chapter name is life processes, means all those processes which are very important to sustain a life is called life processes, right? So, when definition comes for this, so what will you write? Okay, all those process which is essential for running a life is called life process. Here you can see the processes which maintain body function and are necessary for survival are called life processes. The important life processes are nutrition, transportation, metabolism, reproduction, respiration, and excretion. But my children, I want to tell you, okay, see, basically we take those processes which are essential for running our own life, right? Means reproduction is not important. It is not called the life processes. Reason, okay, it is not important for running your own life, right? So away from here, skip the part reproduction, right? And after that, whatever life processes are there which is important for running own life is called life process. You can see that I have written life processes, and then the four parts: nutrition, respiration, transportation of substances, and excretion. So it's very clear for you. Okay, in the chapter of life processes, we are going to study about these four main functions of our body or the systems of our body, right? See, life and the living organism on the earth is plants and animals. So we are going to study all these topics in both and in animals as well as in plants. So if you will say nutrition, so nutrition is one of the part, and we will study it for both of them, plants and animals. Same way, respiration, transportation of substances. Transportation of substances means how the substance move from one body parts to the other body parts. Like in your body, the blood is the medium which used to carry the nutrients or gases and waste, metabolic waste, from one place to another place in your body, right? So that is when we basically talk about the blood. So that comes as that especially we give a term circulation. But here we have to study in case of plants also, to not circulation. This is transportation of substances. And then the last part of this chapter is excretion. And one by one I will teach you topic wise. Topic of the chapter. The first topic of the chapter is nutrition. Nutrition means the method, the way to get nutrients in our body, and how the nutrients get utilized in the body provides energy. So here the first part, see, we are studying what life processes. So for running your life you need energy. For running a function in a cell needs energy, right? So overall, our body which behaves like a machine, it runs on energy. So we need energy, and for getting energy we consume food. So the method to have food in the different forms is called nutrition. Here you can read the text. To maintain various life processes and to prevent their damage and breakdown, energy is required. This energy is taken from outside the body of an organism in the form of food and is taken inside the body of a process commonly called nutrition. Depending upon food synthesizing, it has three kinds: autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition, and mixotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition, but mixotrophic is new for you. Wait for it, right? By looking at above text, we can say that nutrition is divided into three parts: autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition, and mixotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition, all the green plants perform, as you know कि they have chlorophyll and they synthesize their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Heterotrophic nutrition, all non-green plants and animals, है ना, they have different method to obtain their food. We will study in a brief explanation. And mixotrophic nutrition, this is euglena, a unicellular organism which comes in the phylum Protozoa. You have studied about it, and in class 9th I have explained about mixotrophic nutrition a little bit. Let's continue the topic, where we will study again. The first part of the topic nutrition is autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition, it used to a process in which the green plants perform the process of photosynthesis and obtain their food, right? So that mode of nutrition in which auto means itself, troph means food, so itself the synthesizing of food occurs itself and by the organism itself is called autotrophic mode of nutrition. Now what? Okay, in the question it asks like, okay, what are the raw substance for the autotrophic nutrition? So raw substances, that reactants, so here carbon dioxide and water. These are two inorganic substances which fuse together to form an organic substance called glucose, right? And this fusion of these inorganic substances in order to form an organic substance, glucose, is called photosynthesis. And for this fusion, for this reduction, oxidation reaction, there's a requirement of energy. So this energy the plants used to get from the sun. So we say that the solar energy helps in the process of photosynthesis, right? And the whole process of photosynthesis occurs in the chlorophyll, right? Means the place is the chloroplast, which contains chlorophylls and which helps in the formation of glucose. So the mode of nutrition in which the plants synthesize their own food is called autotrophic mode of nutrition. And if question asks what are called autotrophs, so all those organisms who prepare their own food with the help of carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll are called autotrophs. Examples, green plants and some bacteria. Now children, if we study about the autotrophic mode of nutrition, so there is very important part, photosynthesis, which we have to explain a little. So photosynthesis, I know that you all know the possible answers, but maybe you can get something new. So the process by which autotrophs take in substances from the outside means outside environment. So the process in which autotrophs take substances from the outside environment in the form of carbon dioxide and water and convert them into stored forms of energy. Stored forms of energy is called carbohydrates here. This whole process occurs in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. Extra carbohydrates are stored in the form of starch, which serves as the internal energy reserved to be used as and when required by plants. Right? Means definition should be very qualitative, right? So here, autotrophs used to get their substance from the outer surroundings, and the raw material is carbon dioxide and water, and it gets converted into carbohydrate in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, right? The immediately use of carbohydrates in the form of energy occurs by the plants, but the reserved form of carbohydrates is called starch in the plants. Here the chemical reaction asks, so we can write raw products are carbon dioxide and water, है ना? So you will write carbon dioxide and water. You know the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight is important here, and as you know glucose forms after the process of photosynthesis plus oxygen gas release out, right? Now to make it easier, here 6 carbon dioxide, 6 water molecule and 6 oxygen, right? Means there's a game of 6. And glucose formula is simple. Here carbon, hydrogen and oxygen combines together in the form of 1:2:1. As you can see here, 6:12:6 ratio, 1:2:1. So a question can ask, what is the ratio of elements in the formation of glucose? So you can write, it is 1:2:1. Now, your standard is high. Photosynthesis you know since your childhood. Now you know it better how the photosynthesis process completes itself. The following events take place during photosynthesis. First, absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. You know the chlorophyll is only the pigment which can absorb sunlight, right? So the first process is absorption of sunlight by chlorophyll. The second process is splitting of water and into hydrogen and oxygen. So splitting of water after the light energy, right? So this is called photolysis of water. Photolysis. Lysis means break down, to break down. Photo means in presence of light. So when the water breaks down in the presence of sunlight is called photolysis of water. So the second step is the splitting of water into, you can understand when water will break down to O and H, means H2O. There is the ratio 2:1. So this will break down H and O form. Third step, conversion of light energy into chemical energy. All this process of photosynthesis going on to switch the energy from one form to another form. Solar energy it is going to turn into chemical energy, like conversion of light energy into chemical energy in the form of ATP and NADPH. ATP you have studied adenosine triphosphate. We will say in the next page how this conversion occurs. And the next process is reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Assimilation of carbon means carbon dioxide gets utilized with the water molecule and it forms carbohydrates, right? Means utilized with the water molecule, I mean to say the carbon dioxide reduced with this hydrogen and then it forms carbohydrate. The process of photosynthesis occurs in the leaf, you know it, and the mesophyll cells. Mesophyll cells they are rich in the chlorophyll, and in the chlorophyll the sunlight gets trapped. As you can see in the diagram, the process of photosynthesis occurs, and transpiration you have studied. Water vapor from the water used to get out in the form of water vapor by the plants is called transpiration here, and oxygen gas also means release out during this process. When we study about the autotrophic mode of nutrition, so we do not skip the process of photosynthesis. When we don't skip the photosynthesis process, we cannot skip the stomata. And our stomata is the breathing organ of plant. Stomata are minute openings occurring in large numbers on the lower surface of leaf. You know it. In the board set as what is the location of a stomata, so answer should be there under the beneath underside of leaf. The main function of stomata is to let in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere for photosynthesis. Reason, breathing organ, as I said, so it allows the carbon dioxide to enter in the plant body for the formation of glucose. When stomata are not in use for photosynthesis, when it is dark in the sense no sunlight during night. They tend to close their openings so the water loss is minimized from the leaves through transpiration. Reason, Gaseous exchange occurs by the stomata. So when there's no need of carbon dioxide, there's no process of photosynthesis, so they used to remain themselves closed so that the gaseous section can completely stop and the loss of water can be preserved. When there is light, as after sunrise, they reopen to allow carbon dioxide to diffuse in means in the plant body starts to take the carbon dioxide. After that, the transpiration occurs along with photosynthesis. Due to this process, we can say that transpiration is the price which the plant pays for photosynthesis. It's a important line कि transpiration is the price reason for the photosynthesis process. Plants take in carbon dioxide. In turn, when the stomata is open, in turn, the water loss also occur. So we can say that transpiration and photosynthesis are the process which occur together, right? As the rate of photosynthesis will be high, at the same rate the transpiration process will be also there, right? So transpiration is the price which plants pays for photosynthesis. You can see the structure of stomata. Guard cells, a pair of guard cells. This opening is called stomatal pore or stoma. This is the inner wall of guard cell, outer wall of the guard cell, and these are the leaf cells, right? So stomatas are the tiny opening. Abhi this is the open condition. How the opening and closing occurs. So see here, these guard cells are swelled up due to presence of water, right? And because of swelling, it forms bean shaped structure. So because as they swell up, the openings become wider, and this is called stomatal pore. From this only the water vapors comes out, oxygen gas comes out, and the carbon dioxide goes in. Here, this is the closed form of stomata, which usually occurs during night, and in this you can see the flattened structure of guard cells. Reason: no process of photosynthesis, so no transpiration, so no exchange of gases. Here, two main phases of photosynthesis: light dependent phase, light phase, light independent phase, which is called dark phase. Means independent, no need of light at all. That's why it is called dark phase. After the process of first process, autotrophic mode of nutrition, there's a second process, which is heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition means the method, the way of nutrition in which organism depends on the other organism in order to get food. See, dependency means like parasite. Abhi you can ask my parasite depends, है ना? Scavengers depends. Maybe some of you can ask like decomposers are depending. So many things. See, overall dependency. It is the various types such as holozoic, saprotrophic, parasitic. The form of nutrition differs depending on the type and availability of food material as well as how it is obtained by the organism. Heterotrophic nutrition itself says you that the organism used to get their food from the other organism, है ना? And how they take, it depends on the various organisms. So because there are lots of animals, other methods of taking the food, so the heterotrophic nutrition can be divided into holozoic, saprophytic, and parasitic. One by one we will study it. Holozoic. Holo means when we eat complex food, you know. Holo means when we eat a complex food and it used to break down in our body and then it provides you energy. So for this kind of method is called holozoic nutrition. Here In this way of nutrition, organism take complex food component from outside environment and it breaks down inside the body and provides soluble nutrition. It completes in 5 steps. Holozoic nutrition have 5 steps here: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, egestion. Ingestion, intake of complex food. Digestion means breakdown of complete food into simple form. Absorption, soluble nutrient absorbed by villi. Assimilation, utilization of energy. Egestion, removal of unwanted food or feces from body. Now, examples of holozoic nutrition. So most of the unicellular organism like amoeba and paramecium as well as multicellular organism like human follow the holozoic mode of nutrition. Nutrition in human being, which is also what a kind of holozoic nutrition. So here nutrition in human being takes place through various body parts like from mouth to anus. So all the organs which comes in the digestive system are mouth, stomach, is small intestine, large intestine, anus. Here, abhi you will ask, ma'am, food pipe so you have skipped, but in the flow diagram you will get all the all the organs. The process of nutrition takes place through an alimentary canal, which is a long tube extending from the mouth to the anus. Alimentary canal, I have told you, a pipe-like organ which have two ending, mouth and anus, is called alimentary canal. Somewhere it gets broader, wider, somewhere it used to become narrower, shorter, right? And somewhere it is specialized to release some enzymes, some hormones, right? So according to it, we give the different name to the parts of alimentary canal, and they have different functions also. Here, the first part of the alimentary canal is buccal cavity, which contains teeth, tongue, salivary glands. In very short term, common term, the buccal cavity is your mouth. Cavity means a place, an open area. Buccal means mouth. So the mouth cavity. Here, in this, teeth, tongue and salivary glands are present, which helps, they say, teeth and tongue helps in the chewing of food, churning of food. Salivary glands are also present, which release the saliva and makes the food a little moistened so that it is easy to swallow it back. Here, the digestion of food starts, right? Teeth and tongue. Suppose you are eating a piece of bread, right? So the big size of bread gets break down into simplest form in your buccal cavity. That means digestion has started. What is called digestion? Breaking down of a complex food into simple soluble form. The breaking down of food has started with the help of teeth, tongue. So here we can say that in the buccal cavity the physical digestion occurs, right? Physical digestion means there is no chemical reaction, only your starch turns into maltose. So we will discuss later on. Here only physical digestion occurs where the teeth and tongue takes active part in it. From the buccal cavity, the food gets rolled down into the form of bowl-like structure, which is now termed as bolus. So the bolus moves to the esophagus. Esophagus is a long tube, no secretory cells they have, so no digestion. Only they means allow the food to pass through it, and it passes the food from the mouth to the next organ, stomach. Here, it is especially known for its peristaltic movement, the crunch-like movement. Means they used to churn the food like this, so it turns into, the bolus turns into paste form, and this paste form reaches to the next chamber of alimentary canal, which is called stomach. A stomach, very specialized organ, and it is very rich with the gastric glands. Here in the stomach you can see the presence of mucus, HCl and various enzymes. Enzymes released by gastric glands, right? So here mucus are present, HCl acid is present and enzymes released when there's a need for the digestion of food. Now see, one question comes ki in our body HCl is present, which is an acid. Then also it doesn't cause harm to our wall of stomach. Why? Here between the wall of stomach and HCl there is a layer of mucus which used to neutralize the HCl and prevent the wall of stomach. After the digestion of food, means here various glands are present which release enzymes, so particular foods break down into the particular form. Where the digested food used to enters in the small intestine. Here is in a small intestine, villi, the finger-like projections are present on the wall of a small intestine and they used to do wave-like motion all the time so that when the food passed through them, so the soluble form of the food get diffused with the villi and they used to trap it. Ab villi are the finger-like projections. So they are rich with the blood and these bloods used to carry the dissolved food into the mainstream of the blood, and then from the process of circulation the nutrients reach to the overall body parts. Absorption of food after complete digestion. See children, the process of digestion completes in small intestine. Stomach is wrong answer. Small intestine. From the stomach's few parts of the undigested food comes in the small intestine where it used to get digested. इसलिए we say that कि the whole process of digestion completes in small intestine. After that, now digestion has completed, absorption has completed, so the paste form of food is left over and it enters in the large intestine. Now, what is the role of large intestine? So it actually absorbs water and salts. The question asks, what is the role of large intestine? So for the absorption of water and salts. When the from the food, villi has absorbed nutrients. Large intestine through the villi absorbs the water and salts, excess salts, important salts, and after that, now when there is no useful substance in the food left over, then it is called feces now, and this feces comes to the anus, and unwanted leftover part of food remove out of the body through it. Got it? Complex food should be converted to smaller ones by crushing the food with teeth and enzyme salivary amylase of saliva secreted by salivary gland. See, saliva contains one enzyme which is called salivary amylase. The another name is ptyalin. This salivary amylase breaks down the starch, which is a complex molecule, into sugar. Say starch is a complex molecule and the salivary amylase coming from the saliva. So it breaks the starch into maltose. This is complex form of glucose, whereas it is the simplest form of glucose. So starch gets break down in maltose in the buccal cavity in presence of salivary amylase. As the alimentary canal lining is soft, so food is made wet to make the passes smooth. So it is by the process with the help of saliva only. It's the saliva mixed with the food and make it soft so that it helps in the easily passing down. And alimentary canal lining is soft. The wall of esophagus is soft, so easily the food get passed through it. The alimentary canal has different parts, and the food should be moved in a regulated manner along the digestive tube so the food is processed properly in each part. See here, saying ki alimentary canal has different parts. Away you can see in the diagram ki if it's your buccal cavity, this is your esophagus, right? And from the esophagus, this part is your stomach, liver, inside the liver, gallbladder, right? For here, pancreas, green leaf-like structure is called pancreas. This internal part is your small intestine. This is your large intestine. And at the ending, what do you form here? Anus. Here, these are the organs. अब saying कि the food should process from one organ to next organ in a particular manner. Otherwise, if there will be dislocation of food, so there will be the disturbance in the process of digestion, and so it can cause harm to our body also. Few important points which I want to read fast and try to understand. The esophagus has muscles that contract rhythmically to push the food forward, and this movement of food is called peristaltic movement, which occurs all along the gut. All along the gut means in overall the alimentary canal, this peristaltic movement occurs. Tabhi from one organ to the next organ, the food get pass. The food is taken to stomach through food pipe through the esophagus from mouth, means here from the mouth to the stomach the food comes through the pipe which is known as esophagus. The muscular wall of a stomach mixes the food with more digestive juices secreted by the gastric glands present in the wall of the stomach. The stomach wall is rich with the various digestive glands, and they release the enzymes which helps in the process of breaking down the food. Gastric glands release hydrochloric acid, protein digesting enzymes, pepsin, trypsin, and mucus. Here, whatever end with "ene", है ना, तो these kind of enzymes basically work for the protein, breaking down of protein. Here, enzyme pepsin acts on the food, and HCl facilitates the action of pepsin. First, pepsin acts on the food, and whatever the protein content are there, so it breaks the protein into its monomer form, which is amino acid. And HCl facilitates action of pepsin. See, HCl have two functions. One, it activates pepsin so that pepsin can start the digestion of protein. And the second, HCl kills the germs which enters along with your food by chance. If any germs enter in your body, so it used to killed by the action of HCl. HCl have two functions, initiative of pepsin as well as killing of germs. Mucus, the third line, the third part, which pepsin, trypsin and mucus. So mucus protects the inner lining of stomach from the action of acid under normal condition. That is why I said the HCl doesn't cause harm to the stomach wall. Reason, there is the mucus which used to protect the inner lining, right? And it used to neutralize the HCl. That's why HCl do not cause any kind of harm. From stomach, acidic food enters to a small intestine, the longest part of alimentary canal. A small intestine, but it is longest part of the alimentary canal. What is the game here? So we talk about the diameter of the tube, है ना? Small because I'm not talking about the length. The diameter of the see here the small intestine have these diameter where the diameter of large intestine is wider. So there is the narrower and wider passes. That's why the name has given a small intestine. Otherwise, it is the longest part of alimentary canal. And this is regulated by sphincter muscles. Now, what do you mean by sphincter muscles? Say, I'm trying to make you understand. Suppose this is your stomach, right? So if there is no sphincter muscles, so food can come from the mouth to esophagus to stomach. It is to chalo common process. But suppose ki the stomach is filled due to acidic reaction, due to any other reason, the food can go back to the esophagus and can come out from the mouth, right? So to check the back movement of food, there is one muscles, cardiac muscles, sphincter muscles it is called, right? Cardiac muscles, I know, I'm not wrong. Cardiac is the term which is used for the sphincter here. So sphincter muscles are present which do not allow the back movement of food. Complete digestion of carbohydrate, protein and fats takes place in the small intestine by the secretion of liver and pancreas. See, I told you that the whole process of digestion, the complete process of digestion occurs in small intestine. See why I said this? Here, stomach rich with gastric glands, digestion occurs, no doubt. But from the stomach, when this turning you are looking now, so this is the small intestine turning, right? And beginning of the small intestine receives the bile juice from the liver and pancreatic juice from the pancreas, and these juice are important for the digestion of, say, this bile juice emulsified the fat, means the fat molecules do not break down, do not completely digest, it only break down into fatty acid and glycerol. So for the breaking of fat molecules, there is the need of bile juice which comes from the liver, the largest gland of your body. And for the complete digestion of the food, see, from here maybe some undigested food has entered in the small intestine. So from here the pancreas release pancreatic juice which contains different kind of enzymes, right? Pancreatic amylase, lipase, which used to work on the food, act on the food and breaks down it into insoluble form. So the complete digestion occurs in a small intestine. Now what is the product after the digestion of the food? Carbohydrate completely digested into sugar or glucose, protein completely digested into amino acid, and as I told, fat do not digest completely, it only breaks down into fatty acid and glycerol. Bile secreted by liver makes acidic food alkaline and acts on large globules of fat into smaller globules so that the enzymes can act on easily. The process of breakdown of large fats globule into smaller globules is called emulsification. Emulsification is very recurrent question. Fat breaks down into fatty acid and glycerol in the presence of bile, which released by the liver is called emulsification. So you can make yourself the definition if you understand it better. Pancreas secretes pancreatic juice which contains enzyme trypsin to break down the digestive protein. See, I told you ENE. So ENE basically work on the proteins. Lipase for digesting emulsified fats. The walls of a small intestine contain glands secreting intestinal juice which converts finely complex carbohydrate into glucose, proteins to amino acid and fats into fatty acid and glycerol. The inner wall of a small intestine has finger-like projection called villi, which I told you already. Villi are the finger-like projection present in the small intestine. They have the main function to absorb the soluble food. They are richly supplied with blood vessels. So after absorption of the food, they used to pass it to the mainstream of the blood, and through the circulation, each body cells receives the nutrient. Here, the unabsorbed food is sent to the large intestine, where more villi absorb water from this undigested material, and the rest of the material is excreted from the body by anus. Told you na unabsorbed food means after the small intestine, what comes to the next the undigested food comes to the next is your large intestine. So here absorption of water and salt take place, and the undigested, the leftover food means which is useless now, so it comes out from the body through the anus. The excretion of waste material by anus is regulated by anal sphincters. Abhi I told sphincters like one leaf-like structure present over the tube, which do not allow the movement of the food back. Here, if there is the requirement of in sphincter, the same way through the anus means at the anus point there is also need of a sphincter. Otherwise you are smart, you can understand. Okay, a sphincter controls the movement of feces to release out or to keep in the body. Next one is saprophytic nutrition or Heterotrophic nutrition. In saprophytic nutrition, the organism obtain their food from dead and decaying organic matter of dead plants, dead animals, and other decomposing organic matter. You have already studied in class 9th. I taught you one chapter, our environment, pollution, है ना. तो in that I told you about it कि decomposes, right? Or saprophytic nutrition means basically the organism used to get their food from the dead and decaying matter, है ना. तो examples rhizopus, bread mold, mucor, pine mold, yeast, agaricus, and mushroom. मतलब the common name of agaricus is mushroom. Parasitic nutrition. In this mode of nutrition, an organism called as parasite lives on the body surface or inside the body of other organism called host. Means organism get their food by living in or outside of the body of the host. Here organism get the food from dead and decaying organic matter, and here the organism live in the living host to get their food. So this means in this they helps in the decomposition of the substances where it used to cause harm to the host. It doesn't provide anything to the host. In turn, it means host supply the food to them and they used to cause harm to the host. So parasites are the organism which get their food from the host body, and this kind of nutrition is called parasitic nutrition. For example, mosquito, ectoparasite because it doesn't live in your body. It used to suck the blood and from outside of the body. So ectoparasite takes lice, bed bugs, tapeworm. Tapeworm endoparasite lives in your alimentary canal.